Welcome back to the fifth and final segment of the GSMC Hockey Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network, where we are talking RFAs and arbitration. So before we get into that, let's define arbitration because this is a very confusing topic and a lot of litigation issues go into this one. Arbitration is let's just get the exact wording right. Arbitrations is a ruling between an arbitrator that is between the team and the player to come to a mutual agreement on a contract. I had it perfectly pulled up. So teams elected arbitration. So teams can take players to arbitration to a maximum of 2 team elections per year. If a player made $2.38 million or more in the last season, the arbitration award must be 85% of their previous salary, season pay or more. If the team elects arbitration, the player can still sign an offer sheet with another team prior to July 5th at 5 p.m., which would negate the team elected arbitration. The team must elect arbitration by 5 p.m. on the later of June 15 or 48 hours after the Stanley Cup Final ends. If a player received a qualifying offer but did not accept it, the team must offer an amount equal to or more than their pay in the previous season. The team election window is from July 5th and at 5 p.m. to July 6th at 5 p.m. A player can only receive one team-elected arbitration in their career, regardless of if the case was selected prior to the actual arbitration award. Arbitration rulings. The arbitrator can only award a 1 or 2 year contract. The party that did not elect arbitration selects the term. If the player selected arbitration, the team selects 1 or 2 year term. Players that are only 1 year away from being a UFA can only have a 1 year contract awarded. So, what does all of this mean? If a player is an RFA, they get a chance at making a case to a third party to get the contract that they desire. The problem with being an RFA is you don't really have a lot of bargaining rights. This is a way for the NHL to figure it out. I think MLB has like the most famous system of this with arbitration hearings. They go to court and all of that. It could get very ugly in the MLB, but it's very similar in hockey. So who went and became who went to arbitrators? For the Buffalo Sabres, they had 2 guys, and I actually did have a graphic for it. I totally forgot. For the Buffalo Sabres, they had 2 guys. They had Beck Malenstein and Ika-Pekka Lehkonen. Both those guys are going to try to get a third party to give them some more money. The Hurricanes got 2, Jack Drury, Martin Necas, which we're going to come back to Martin Necas after we get through some of these. Jake Christensen, Jack Greaves, Kirill Marchenko, 3 guys for the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's a lot more than they've ever had, which is kind of a shock for the Blue Jackets, but might be a tell for, Don Waddell might have something to do with that, whatever it could be. The Red Wings, only Joe Veleno was eligible for arbitration hearings, and he is the Red Wing that went to arbitration hearings. Spencer Stastny for the Preds, Oliver Wahlstrom for the Islanders, Ryan Lindgren for the Rangers, Ty Emberson for the Sharks, JJ Moser for the Lightning, and Connor Dewar for the Maple Leafs. Who are the big names here? Ika-Pekka Lehkonen, Martin Necas, Kirill Marchenko, Joe Veleno, Oliver Wahlstrom, Ryan Lindgren are the 6 bigger names here. All these guys are proven NHL guys. Martin Necas is the most interesting one to me. What does Martin Necas being here mean? I think that it means he's going to be on the Carolina Hurricanes next season. I think that he has a way to be the first-line right wing on this team with Teuvo Teravainen not being there, with Jake Gensel not being there. Now their top 6 looks a little bit bare from last season, and I think that Martin Necas can definitely fill in a hole there. Seth Jarvis is an RFA who was not eligible for arbitration, and we'll get to him later in this segment here. But for the Carolina Hurricanes, I'd be shocked if Martin Necas isn't on their team anymore. For a large part of this offseason, it was kind of the other way. I was counting down the seconds until he was going to get traded. It seemed like a foregone conclusion that he was not going to be on Carolina next season. And now things have changed. I think from my understanding, arbitration means that a player wants to play for the team, right? So it's not a bad thing for any of these teams. It'll get figured out. We saw this with Jeremy Swayman last year when he went to arbitration. He got a contract, and he's looking to re-sign in Boston next season. So, or for this season, for this upcoming season, it's it's something beyond my depth to understand the reason beyond what I can just assume. So I'm not going to speculate too much on a lot of these guys. One of the more shocking ones for me was Kirill Marchenko. I thought that was going to be an easier contract negotiation for the Columbus Blue Jackets. It seems like he's a perfect candidate for a bridge deal for like 2 years until they get competitive and see where he's at when the Blue Jackets are competitive and see if he's on that first or second line and if he warrants $7 to $8 million, because he is a fantastic sniper. He has a fantastic shot, but there's a lot in his game that can leave you wanting for Kirill Marchenko. But he was a rookie last year. He's gonna be fine. I think he scored 20 goals last year. He's gonna be plenty fine. So for the Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm shocked that they let him get to arbitration. But like I said, it's not a bad thing to my understanding. But it could, I don't know. Truly, it's beyond my depth. I'm not inside these guys' head. It's just speculation. But we'll talk about other RFAs that aren't that didn't file for arbitration. Jeremy Swayman, he could have filed, but he didn't, which tells me that contract talks are going well. They're coming to an extension. It's going to be announced here soon. I'd be shocked if Jeremy Swayman wasn't a Boston Bruin next year, especially with having Linus Ullmark traded to the Ottawa Senators. Mo Seider, another RFA, he is not eligible for arbitration. I'd be shocked if he's not on Detroit next season. Same thing with Lucas Raymond, exact same thing, not eligible. Seth Jarvis, not eligible. I'd be shocked if he is not on Carolina next season. Thomas Harley, not eligible as well. Dallas Stars defenseman. Quentin Byfield, LA Kings center/winger. He wasn't eligible for arbitration either. Martin Necas, of course, was. He did file, as we talked about. Matty Beniers from the Seattle Krakens. He can definitely file. I'm pretty sure yes, he can file, but he did not. Ukko-Pekka Lehkonen, a big RFA who did file. Cole Perfetti did not file. He is an RFA. I think Kent Johnson couldn't have. Cole Sillinger couldn't have. I'm just thinking of other big RFAs. So it's an interesting thing to watch out for these guys that, of course, are under team control. But, I mean, it tells you a lot about, one, how these teams value these guys, and two, what's going to happen in the future. How many times can Jeremy Swayman have bad contract talks with the Boston Bruins before that relationship is soured? How many times can it happen with anybody? Ryan Lindgren for the Rangers is a prime example. This guy is going to want to move on from the Rangers the second he's a UFA. I'm confident in it. So we'll see how it all plays out. But it's definitely something that I love paying attention to, because I think that it adds a very interesting element for a lot of these free agents here that are, of course, going to be filing for arbitration. What they're going to get is going to be interesting. We won't find that out until August. And what teams think that they're worth, because that gets put in front of you. You get told by a third party, basically. These teams are going to give them the bottom of the bed. They're not going to go out there and give them what they think that they deserve, because now it's a negotiation. Now you're looking for your end of the negotiation. So I think that it's a way to spoil a relationship with the team. But, Martin Necas, that relationship might be spoiled already. Joe Veleno has been a fourth-line center for the Red Wings. I don't know how much he loves being in Detroit, but that's speculation. I could be completely wrong in that. It's all over the place. So we'll see where these RFAs, what they get, what the third party think that they're worth. I think that there is a lot of guys here that could get $3-4 million, and I wouldn't be shocked. But they can't get more than 2.5 if my understanding of the rules is correct. I could be definitely wrong. I'm not a lawyer by any means, so. That'll wrap it up for the GSMC Hockey Podcast on this Monday. Thank you all for tuning in. All the support is much appreciated. If you want more content from the GSMC Hockey Podcast or Sports Network, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. As well, if you did enjoy the show tonight, if you want to leave a like, subscribe on YouTube. That goes a long way. Rate us on whatever podcast platform you are listening to. Thank you all once again for tuning in. Do appreciate you, and have a wonderful and fantastic evening.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work.